Hello students, welcome to the course Verilog Hardware Description Language. In the previous video, we discussed about the evolution of computer aided design tool for digital design. Okay, so in this video, we will see how HDLs has emerged. Okay, hardware description language. So just a little history about it. Okay. Programming languages like Fortran, Pascal, and C, so they describe computer programs sequential in nature. So they will, okay. Similarly, designers in the digital design field, so they also need for a standard language. So in the previous video, I mentioned in evolution of CAD. So when there is a necessity for CAD, so they require a language, okay, to change the program the chip. Okay, so they have to change the functionality of the digital design, so they required a language. Okay, at the same time, digital design field, they need for a standard language to describe digital circuits. This is how HDLs or hardware description languages came into existence. Okay, and already mentioned, so there are many HDLs are there other than VHDL Verilog. There are many HDLs came into existence, but there is a standard required. Okay, so one of the such VHDL, so VHDL is called as VHSIC HDL. Okay, so which was developed under the contract from DARPA, that is the Department of Research and Funding Agency in the US. Okay, so they called for a program to design a very high speed integrated circuit, that stands for VHSIC. So in that very high speed integrated circuit design, they used HDL languages. Okay, so hardware description languages they use. So different, they use a different notation. There was no standard. Okay, so there is a HDL emerged out of that. So next, what they have done, so the top performers they selected and told them to make a come up with a standard. Okay, so that is how VHDL became one of the standard. So in this course, we are not focusing on VHDL, so we'll focus on Verilog. So similarly, Verilog HDL originated in 1983 at a company called Gateway Design Automation. Okay, it was one of the semiconductor industry. So it introduced its new simulator called as Verilog XL. That's how the name came Verilog. Okay, so you may be wondering why Verilog only that name. So the simulator name was Verilog XL. For that, so they originated that HDL. So it's called Verilog Hardware Description Language. Okay. So later in the 1989, so this gateway company was bought by the Cadence. Okay, so Cadence is one of the big semiconductor company which took complete gateway design automation and its subsidiary Verilog HDL also. Okay, so in the 1990, so Cadence made Verilog available as public domain. So they took that Verilog and they tried to make it as a standard. Okay, so with the intention that it should become a standard non-proprietary language. Okay, so this work they started in 1990 and it took 5 to 6 years. Okay, and the result came in 1995 December. Okay, so where Verilog HDL became IEEE standard 1364 1995. So this is the number given for IEEE 1364 for Verilog HDL. That is the first. Okay, the language is presently maintained by OVI organization, Open Verilog International. Okay, so that will maintain that and it will be of the Cadence company. So IEEE standard, something I want to tell you. So you know about IEEE, right? So Institution of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. If any invention happens in electrical and electronics, so it will be we will be writing a paper and IEEE papers will say okay. And if it is a real invention, if you make it as a standard, so that IEEE will make a standard for that. Similarly for your Bluetooth, okay. So Bluetooth we are using in mobile, so it is having a standard from IEEE. Similarly, Wi-Fi you are accessing, right? So Wi-Fi is a IEEE 802.11. Okay. So like that, there are many IEEE standards are there. You can refer that. Okay. Similarly, Verilog also they made standard HDL. Okay. So its standard name is 1364. Similarly, VHDL also standard IEEE 1164. It is before uh, Verilog. It 2 years before only it got standardized in 1993. Verilog became in 1995. Okay, so we'll focus on Verilog here. So this was get updated 1995 once it is made IEEE standard. Again, some new features were added and it becomes IEEE 1364, the same name with the version year 2001. Another 6 years, it got a new version, and that is the version we are using in this book as well as course. Okay, in the latest Verilog HDL standard that made significant improvements to the original standard. So that is what we are referring here in all our further programming everything. Okay. So continuing further, HDLs allowed the designers to model the concurrency of processes found in hardware elements. Okay, so concurrency means parallelly execution. Okay, so that is present in the hardware element, it is able to model that. Okay, so slowly HDL was used for different situations. Okay, HDL such as Verilog HDL and VHDL. So don't confuse here. Verilog HDL, if you write it short, also becomes VHDL. So Verilog HDL we simply call Verilog, and VHDL means VHSIC HDL. Okay, so both became popular among industry and academia. Okay, so industry as well as academia both are using, both are IEEE standards. Okay, so both are having its own advantages and disadvantages. So debugging the design is easy since HDL packages implement simulators and test benches. Okay, so previous video you have seen evolution of CAD. So as the technology become improved, okay, from small scale integration to very large scale integration where millions of gate count were there, so it is difficult for them to do the simulation on the breadboard, right? So this VHDL offered that with packages. Okay, it came up with packages that implemented simulators and test benches, and using both Verilog and VHDL simulators to simulate large digital circuits quickly gained acceptance from designers. Okay, so whatever you are doing new invention, it should be accepted, right? So if the market comes with new mobile phone, if the customer accept it, then it will be success, right? The same way Verilog and VHDL both were accepted by the industry as well as academia. Okay, so that's why it was there in market till today. Okay, even though HDLs were popular for logic verification, designers had to manually translate the HDL based design into a schematic circuit with interconnection between gates. Okay, so just Verilog HDL came and it was first popular for logic verification. Okay, so what inputs you are given, what because putting on a breadboard and verifying was very difficult. So first their intention was logic verification, and still the design should be converted into a schematic circuit. It was done manually, right? So for that, what came? The new technology came in the further called as logic synthesis. Okay, so this logic synthesis changed the design methodology radically. Okay, completely changed it. So digital circuits could be described at a register transfer level by use of an HDL. So I told you in writing program, we are writing program at register transfer level, meaning high level. Okay, so data flow modeling and behavioral modeling combined, we call it as RTL. Okay, so between registers to register, how data is transferring, at that level we can design our digital circuits. That was possible. Thus designer, okay, so why it is possible? Because logic synthesis will do the further steps. So that's why we are, when we are writing program, we'll start with gate level. Okay, so gate level, then data flow, then behavioral. So once logic synthesis tools came, so you no need to write the program at the gate level, because this logic synthesis will convert that into gate level modeling. Okay, but for your understanding, we will go with gate level, then data flow, then behavioral. Okay, so this will be understood as I start the lab session parallelly. Okay, thus designers specify how the data flows between registers and how the design processes the data. So that is possible because of this logic synthesis tools. And also the details of gates and their interconnections to implement the circuit were automatically extracted by logic synthesis tools from the RTL description. So RTL description means your Verilog HDL code at the top level, behavioral or data flow level. From that, it is able to automatically extract what are the gates and their interconnections. This was not possible in previous logic verification case. So once logic synthesis technology came, it was possible. Okay, so it changed the scenario of the digital design. Logic synthesis pushed the HDLs into the forefront of digital design. So this is the contribution to logic synthesis. Designers no longer had to manually place gates to build digital circuits. They could describe complex circuits at an abstract level in terms of functionality and data flow by designing those circuits in HDLs. Okay, so no need to bother about the gates and interconnections, verifications. Okay, they used to do with different tools, all this burden has overcome because of the logic synthesis. So now digital designers task is to any complex circuit is there, just they have to program it. Okay, they have to write a Verilog program, and the tool, the CAD tool which we are using, it will make the all the things. Okay, so we'll see that in lab steps. Okay, you will be clearly understood. Logic synthesis tools would implement the specified functionality in terms of gates and gate interconnections. That is what the definition of logic synthesis. So it will help the designer to describe the functionality in terms of gates and gate interconnections. Okay, so then one type of modeling is not required to do. Okay, so this is the present situation, but in CA syllabus we will learn that gate level modeling. Okay, so you will be understanding it better. Finally, HDLs also began to be used for system level design. Okay, so it's still gone one step further. Okay, so logic synthesis has changed the scenario. Now system level design also they try to use HDLs. Okay, so that's why system Verilog something is there. Okay, SV. So that is the trend happening in industry and all. That is system level design. Okay, so that is not we are discussing here, but to mention here. So that is what the power of the HDL. HDLs were used for simulation of system boards, okay, interconnect buses, FPGAs, and programmable array logics, PALs we call. So for all the simulation of system boards, HDL became the integral part of the tool. Okay, and a common approach is to design each IC chip using an HDL and then verify system functionality via simulation. So this is the normal trend. So designing an IC chip using an HDL and then verify the functionality via simulation. Okay, so this is regarding emergence of HDLs. Okay, not much to extract from here. Okay, so VHDL and Verilog, how they came into picture, and majorly to remember logic synthesis. Okay, so this is the step we are going to do in HDL lab sessions. Okay, so that is the major focus of this emergence of HDLs. Okay, so we'll stop here. In the next video we'll be describing the design flow. This is very much necessary. So this is a very important question also from exam point of view. Okay, digital design flow, and the same thing I'm going to explain in lab part also. Okay, so in between I may send that. Okay, so lab how we will be doing with software. So just look at that, and from that you will be getting some idea. So whatever this theory part is going on, so you'll understand it in a very better manner. Okay, thank you. If you like the video, so please click the like button.